Now, I talked at the top of the show also about the energy crisis creating havoc in Europe, especially in the UK at the moment, but not in France, of course, where reliable nuclear energy continues to save the day. Back here, Federal Parliament's been taking evidence on nuclear power, with advocates promoting the potential for nuclear energy and small modular nuclear reactors to give us reliable, affordable and emissions-free energy. Australia, of course, also has the largest uranium deposits in the world. Nationals MP Dr David Gillespie has been looking at this too. He's just back from Canada and he joins me in the studio now. Thanks for joining us, David.
My pleasure, Chris.
Canada's always such a good comparison for us. It's a very similar sized country. It's a very similar economy in many respects and it has, in some respects, a similar energy mix, except for nuclear. It has a lot of hydro. It's blessed with a lot of opportunities for hydroelectricity, but it also goes for a lot of nuclear. Now, you've been specifically looking at nuclear. What did you find?
Well, the fact-finding just confirms that they are a nuclear energy superpower. They've been involved since the 50s and 60s, even involved in the 40s when Britain exported their nuclear technology to Canada. But they are building small modular reactors. They are the pointy edge of the take-up of small modular reactors, and they have approved the first stage, which is all the site work for a 300 megawatt GE Hitachi small modular reactor, and it'll be up and delivering energy to Ontario in 2028.
Well, the Canadians are pretty woke too, right? And they're full on for emissions reductions. My understanding is not so long ago they were getting down on nuclear, as a lot of countries were post Fukushima, but now they're ramping up again, are they? Because I know they've had trouble with their coal-fired generation as well. And they also have a lot of gas, but there's resistance to using that too.
Yeah, well, look, they certainly have a long history. They've got 22 nuclear reactors across a couple of big sites. In fact, the biggest nuclear reactor in the world is in Canada. But it's been very safe since the 1960s, no accidents. They have decided back in 2018 to repeal the Green Energy Act, which came in 2009, and it was attempting to do what we're in the middle of doing. It didn't deliver 50,000 jobs as promised, and the decentralisation of the energy grid didn't empower Indigenous Australians. It was an utter failure, and the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario, in their wisdom, got re-elected and removed that and decided to get on with what they know best, and that is providing cheap, reliable electricity. It's a frozen wasteland for 5 to 6 months. They can't muck around with weather-dependent energy sources.
Yeah, absolutely. People talk about a harsh climate here. I mean, they need energy for heating or they just won't survive the winter in large parts of Canada. Now, you'd mentioned the large nuclear reactors they've had. We're familiar with those. All the future is talking about these small modular reactors. And you're saying that Canada will actually have one flicking the switch on it soon. A number of companies are doing these.
Yeah.
And so can we learn from Canada? Should we be working with them?
We should be. The regulatory structures they have, the provincial federal mix is the same as us. They have a Westminster system, they have the British heritage, they have Indigenous citizens who play a big role in decisions, but they have been through licensing. The regulators there are an absolute model for us to copy, in my opinion. I was the Minister for ARPANSA. They have the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. They're harmonising regulations around the world. They've teamed up with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission of America, USA, to co-regulate these small modular reactors, so that when they are regulated, they will be like, you know, an A380 or a 787. If it's approved back in Europe or in America, it would be approved around the world. So look, we can learn so much, but they are really ahead of the game. New Brunswick, another province, is decided to go nuclear. Saskatchewan has signed up to get 2 of these SMRs because they're getting out of coal. And they have teamed up as well. Ontario Power Generation, it's a government entity that has leased off a huge slice of its nuclear fleet to a private entity, so there's competition, but they still own it all. And the Ontario government is really pleased and very helpful, would like to help anyone who wants to get on board with this. And we actually also visited the designers and makers of this plant in America.
We've got to move quickly in this country. And Canada, not, as you say, a long heritage, but moving ahead. So that'll be fascinating to watch that. Thanks for joining us, David.
My pleasure, Chris.
David Gillespie. That's the thing with nuclear. You know, you look at what's happening in France, you look at the UK, where they're about to open another huge nuclear reactor. Canada, China, Japan, Taiwan, Australia. What we think we're not clever enough to run nuclear energy? It is bizarre.